Hey guys, and today I'm going to be showing you how to tie the spinner rig. Now, the spinner rig, Ronnie Rig, needs no introduction because it's just dominated the world these last couple of years. Well, as far as I can see anyway. It's a really easy rig to tie, and I guess that's why it's so popular. Because you can change the hook out in seconds, so you don't have to resharpen, you don't have to change rigs, hook links, you can just change the hook. It's so versatile. You can fish it with pop-ups, wafters, any lead setup. It's very versatile, and like I say, it's very simple. So all we're going to need is we're going to need some size 4 or 6 curved shank hooks, some medium sized kickers, a 360 plastic bait screw, a bait stop, and a spinner swivel. Now, if you can't get these spinner swivels, which I don't know why because they're everywhere, you can also use the QC ones, the quick change swivels. Because I know when I struggled to get these when they first come out, I used the quick change ones and they work just as fine. So first of all we're going to do is we've got a size 4, this is size 4 curved shank hook, barbed, and what we're going to do is we're going to thread on the kicker on to the hook. So what we're going to do is we're going to thread it on. Don't pierce through the kicker, obviously, and just thread it round the hook. If you thread it round, if you can see that, thread it round, thread it round. Right. All this is going to do is trap the hook onto the swivel. So it doesn't need to go on all the way just yet, but as long as you got it on firmly so it's not going to move. Right, so that's on nice. What we're going to do then is take the quick change swivel, the spinner swivel, and put that actually onto the hook, and then slide the kicker over that to trap it into place. So if you slide that down, trapping it into place like so, you should have something what looks like that. Like I say, you can change this out really easy because once you tie your hook link onto that swivel, you don't need to change the whole rig just for the hook. You can take this kicker off, replace the hook, slide it back down. So that's the hook bit done. Then what we're going to do, we're going to take the bait swivel and thread that on to the hook again, like so. That should be dangling off, and then followed by the bait stop. Now, because like I say in other videos, I've got big hands, it can be a bit of a struggle sometimes, so just have to bear with, and it should eventually start to go on. And if you don't embed it into your finger when you're trying to put it on, you haven't done it right. Right, so as you can see, that has gone on lovely. Well, not lovely, but if you have any like minor malfunctions with stuff like that, just get a bit of scissors, trim that little, just neaten it up a bit. So that is that bit done. You want that opposite the barb of the hook. So as you can see there, that's how it'll sit in the water. So you can imagine that's a lake bed, that's how it'd sit. And that is the bulk of the rig done. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that is the bulk of the rig done. Right then, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take off about 16 inches of fluorocarbon. Now we always draw off way too much than I need because there's nothing worse than working with a small hook length material. Put that out the way, and like I said, I've got a nice long bit now to work with. So if you just give it a couple of runs through your fingers, it'll go straight. I always steam my rigs before they go out, so you're getting onto this looping. That's just because it's been on the spool. Then what we're going to do is tie it onto the hook end. So I always use the grinner knot to tie this on. It's a knot I've got confidence in, and it's never let me down. So if it's in a broke, don't fix it. Right then, so how to tie the grinner knot. We're going to create a small loop with my finger there and wrap the tag end round 7 times. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then pass that same tag end through the original loop, like so. If you moisten it with your tongue, give it a tug, As you can see, when I pull it now, it'll sit nice and tight. Just ease it down with your fingers if you have to, and it'll just go. And it'll bunch really nice and really strong. This particular fluorocarbon I'm using, the knot strength is really good. I always leave a bit of a tag in there, as you can see, just because in a minute what I'm going to do is blob that with a lighter. In fact, I'll do it now. Blob it with a lighter. And then what that acts as, when we put the putty on in a min, it gives the putty some mould onto, all that does. So that's knotted on nice, and then what we do is determine how long you want your rig. So what's that, 8 inches? And then tie whatever method you want on. And what I mean by that is, you can tie a swivel on, a quick change swivel, figure of 8 loop knot it, anything like that. All I'm going to do is figure of 8 loop knot it, because that's what I do with all my rigs. You'll hear me saying it time and time again. So figure of 8 loop knot. Lovely. Pull that down nice and tight. Like I say, this fluorocarbon is really strong in knot strength. So trim that tag end off. Make sure you trim the right side. I'd like to say I haven't done it where I've cut the other side, what I have, unfortunately. Make sure it's all nice. You can see how neat that knot is. And then blob that end with a lighter. That's just like an extra precaution so the knot doesn't slip. But I've never had it slip anyway, so. And that is the Ronnie spinner rig. Obviously we'll put some putty on there. I'll do that now as well. Get a small bit of putty. Usually what you do is test it against the weight of your pop-up, so it's critically balanced. But I'm just going to show you with a nice big blob of putty. Work it in your hands a little bit first, and then wrap that putty around that knot. So wrap it around that knot. As you can see, it sits lovely on that knot then, because all that material, that knot acts like what I always think of it as like a fist. So it's grabbing onto it with all those little dimples in it. It wraps around and it's not going nowhere. So yeah, so that is the spinner rig done. What I'll do is I'll put a pop-up on. I'll drop it in the tank so you can see how it sits. You can also, if you wanted to, put an anti-tangle sleeve on here. But I never really bother unless I know that I need to. I never really bother, because with that being doubled up there, that's got twice the rigidity of just a one layer. So that in itself acts like an anti-tangle sleeve. So it kicks away, so as you can imagine, it kicks away that rig and it sits lovely like that. So that's why I always do that figure of 8 loop knots with my rigs. Obviously I loop this onto my main line anyway, or whatever lead setup. But that acts like an anti-tangle sleeve because, as you can see, it's a lot more stiff. So it just kicks away, sits down, lovely like that. Right, I'll drop it in the tank and you can see how it sits. Right then, so as you can see, I've sank that in the tank and it sits absolutely beautiful. The putty sinks the pop-up, the pop-up sits dead nice and buoyant. It doesn't take much to suck it up. You can hardly tell at all that the fluorocarbon is invisible in that water. It sank really slow and it sits really nice. So as you can see, even that small little fish, because it's that buoyant and it's got that much movement because of the swivel, the rig can turn and catch really quick. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this has been helpful. Please like, share and subscribe. Check out my Instagram, JackHarleyHeath. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Take care.